Damn, Angel. Damn. Jag the game at the free throw line, man. It's a lot of controversy going on in Chicago. The Sky fans are blaming Tyler Marsh for Angel Reese losing the game at the free throw line and ruining the Chicago Sky's chances of really cutting the lead down to 1 and giving themselves a chance to keep playing and try to get an upset in Phoenix. Angel played a hell of a game, 15 points, 20 rebounds.
Damn, Angel. Damn. That's the city talking tonight, not just one loud caller or a salty troll account. That's Chicago, exasperated, hoarse, and staring at the replay.
Away at the free throw line, and the fans are blaming Tyler Marsh. We got all the Sky fans crashing out. They crashing out blaming the coach because Angel Reese missed a free throw at the end of a game. Let's take a look at what's going on. We have Chicago Sky fans blaming Tyler Marsh.
Like it's a prank. The core of it is simple and ugly. Angel Reese had the game in her hands at the line, and the Sky watched a winnable one slip away. Yes, she put up a monster line. 15 and 20 is a grown woman box.
Angel Reese is at the bottom of the pick and roll shot attempts list, and it kind of makes sense if you really watch. So on her first game back from injury, somebody interviewed her and asked her, what do you think about Uzan joining the team? How's that change things? And she said, hopefully I'll get more pick and roll touches. Unfortunately, that just hasn't happened. And it's more so, in my opinion, that she's just not getting that play called for her. It's not something that the team is running. Pick and rolls for Angel is not happening. So there is a list. My guy Trendy put it out. I know a lot of people, Trendy is controversial, but Trendy does, you look at his stats, when he posts stats, they'd be right. And so he put out a list of the top pick and roll shot attempts for front court players. And Angel wasn't even
score, but crunch time doesn't grade on a curve, and that free throw turned into the punchline. Now the fan base is in full detective mode, and the first suspect isn't the ball, the rim, or nerves. It's Tyler Marsh.
Only leading Natasha is wild. So let's look at the list. And I know some people might say, well, Angel was injured for a good portion of the season. So was some people on this list. Who was injured? Fee missed 3 weeks, almost a month time. Miller was gone playing in Eurobasket. Shakira missed a lot of time. Dominique does not play that much. I mean, she's playing more now, but during the beginning of the season, who else is on this list that missed some time? E. Will was on this list. That is shocking. So we get pick and rolls for E. Will, and we get pick and rolls for Camilla, but Angel is, again, second to worst.
Because of course it is, here's why this moment matters right now. The Sky aren't just playing games. They're playing for credibility, for belief, for the future core's buy-in. When your closer blinks and the city starts pointing at the bench, it tells you the locker room narrative is up for grabs. And
Chicago Sky, my goodness gracious. Once again, celebrating Angel Reese's powerful double-double last night. We got a couple of things. We got a WNBA announcer actually clowning Angel Reese during the game. That normally doesn't happen. Did he not get the memo? You're not supposed to do that. I mean, players in this league check those.
I get to say that out loud because I've watched the patterns, I've seen the clips, I've sifted through the threads that swear this is all rotations and play calling, not performance. We're going to pull on every thread they're tugging. The pick and roll famine for Angel, the mysterious back injury window, the fake viewership victory laps, the ref conspiracies that could power a Netflix docuseries, and the shadow that keeps stretching across all of it. Caitlin Clark doing numbers while everybody else argues commas. SO if you clicked because you saw the meltdown and thought, here we go again. You're in the right place. Public sentiment is on fire. Now for the twist nobody wants to sit with. It can be true that the offensive menu doesn't feed Angel enough pick and roll touches, and also true that a professional has to cash the biggest checks in the biggest moments. Quick proof? You watched it.
Ball. Hands. Line.
Mississippi. And here's the roadmap for tonight. First, we'll unpack the great scapegoat migration from player to clipboard and why it keeps happening in this city. Second, we'll step into that Clark-shaped spotlight and talk impact versus impression. Then we'll tackle the stat quirks, the double-double illusion, the bigger-than-the-Super Bowl energy online, the injury timeline that nobody can pin a date on, and the growing sense that the Sky's game plan is a group chat with no admins start with the blame. Game, because Chicago doesn't just lose, it litigates. The moment that free throw ricocheted, You could practically hear the summons being printed for Tyler Marsh. Not enough sets for Angel. Not enough late-game packages featuring her. Not enough PNR touches to keep her in rhythm. People came armed with spreadsheets and screen grabs. There's even a circulating list, shout to trendy, controversial but accurate when it comes to raw counts, that shows frontcourt pick-and-roll shot attempts by player, and Angel's nowhere near the top. Angel only leading Natasha is wild, somebody noted, and whether you agree with the exact comp or not, the point landed. Other bigs get fed in that action. Ewell touches. Camila touches. Fee missed time and still pops. Shakira was in and out and still runs it. Meanwhile, Angel keeps hitting that press mic like, hopefully I'll get more PNR touches, and the film says, hopefully is a strategy now. Context. On her first game back from a back issue, one that exists, yes, even if the when and how are foggy, Angel gets the has Yuzon change things? Question and answers like a player who wants a different diet. Feed me more PNR, application. The offense continues to vibe like pick and roll for her as a garnish, not the entree. Framing. You can be system-starved and still required to finish your dinner. If the chef underseasoned the plate, it's fair to say so. But when the dessert is a free throw and you leave it untouched, the chef isn't the story. Now to the strongest beam of light in the room, the one that makes every Chicago conversation sweat, Caitlin Clark. While Angel's night is being turned into a courtroom, Clark is busy doing the thing that ends arguments, the kind of performances that move buildings. Teams aren't shifting arena dates for a vibe. They're doing it because demand shows up in cash and capacity. Clips of Clark aren't just highlights. They're culture-sized moments that travel beyond the basketball core. That's the expectations versus reality fork in the road. The expectation that Angel's double-double totals should equal star power on command. The reality that star power today is measured in doors you open, demand you create, and games you close. It's not anti-Angel to say that. It's anti-excuse. Context. Clark's nights create surges, more eyes, louder buildings, a palpable sense that something history-ish might happen from 30 feet. Application. Every time she hits a shot that turns an arena into a search term, the comparison machine reloads Angel's tape and asks, okay, what's your moment? Framing. This isn't about moral worth. It's about market reality. One player is forcing the league to expand its footprint. The other is battling for a consistent late-game identity. That's not slander. That's a scoreboard of influence that let's loop back to the double-double parade, because nothing exposes the gap between applause and outcomes like that stat. You've seen the number floating around. The record when Angel posts those gaudy lines has been underwater. The exact figure bouncing around is something like 15 wins and 31 losses going into this latest mess. If that's your victory lap, it's a sad jog. Context. 20 rebounds should tilt a game. Application. If it doesn't, that means the boards aren't converting to putbacks, fouls drawn, or pace-pushing sequences that flip runs, especially late. Framing. Basketball pays interest in possessions, not in screenshots of stat lines. Dominance that doesn't tilt the final 2 minutes feels like a bodybuilder who can't open a jar. Cue the next round of rationalizations. If it's not the coach, it's the refs. If it's not the refs, it's the rotations. If it's not the rotations, it's the teammates doing too little, too late. We even reach the multiverse where the league itself wants Angel dimmer so Caitlin looks brighter. That's a lot of galaxy brain for a missed free throw. Context. Every fan base does this a little. Application. Chicago is doing it a lot because the emotional cost of saying, our star blinked feels too high in a season that already feels uphill. Framing. The more elaborate the excuse, the less you're dealing with the basketball. If the conspiracy board needs yarn and pins, what you really need is a calm end-of-game plan you trust. Speaking of plan, what exactly is the skies? Multiple voices are saying the quiet part out loud. It looks like pickup out there. Players freelancing. Roles blurry. Long stretches where it feels like the huddle is optional. You can watch Camila and Angel beat everyone down the floor and still not see the ball swing to the rim runner. That's not on individual heart. That's on a connective tissue problem. Context. Swapping leaders and assistants doesn't fix identity overnight. There's chatter like, y'all fired Teaspoon for this? Followed by, nurse gotta go, tossed into a totally different conversation, which tells you something else is broken. The discourse compass. Application. When a fanbase starts mixing coaches and eras and misdirected blame, it's because they're trying to land emotion on anything that will hold still. Framing. Identity is the preseason speech, the mid-season adjustment, and the late-game oxygen. If the team's not breathing the same air, the final minute is where you see it first. Now, about those pick and roll receipts, because people will swear this is the original sin. There's a case to be made for feeding Angel more downhill touches. She's physical enough to force a switch, clever enough to carve the short roll, and disruptive enough to punish deep drops. If other bigs across the league with interruption-heavy seasons still manage to compile more PNR attempts, why isn't Angel getting that runway? Context. Some of this is personnel. Some of it is taste. Some of it is trust. Application. When a star publicly says, "I hope for more PNR touches," that's both a request and a message. Give me a bread and butter set I can live in. Framing. Even if the menu needs edits, the closer still has to pay the bill. End of game fouls, putbacks, slips. Those are universal. You don't need a perfect play call to hit a free throw, and we can't leave without addressing the rating flexes because the internet lies with confidence. The narrative split goes like this. When Angel stumbles, some corners of the timeline inflate the W numbers like a helium tank with no off switch. Suddenly everything is record-breaking, historic, and unprecedented, but the fine print reads like a scavenger hunt. Highest in a Tuesday afternoon cable slot when 3 baseball games were rained out and a cooking marathon was on the other channel. That's not how you win an argument. That's how you win a technicality. Context. The league is growing, and that's a good story even without cosplay. Application. Overselling reality to protect a favorite backfires because the receipts are public. Framing. The reason Clark's impact hits different is because the demand doesn't need qualifiers.